This creepy footage shows a group of friends hanging out together at someone's house. They were having a good time, lounging around and watching TV, when something deeply unsettling brought the fun to an abrupt halt. Whatever happened in that moment left everyone in the room shaken and scared.
Pero de verdad que... Mira, eso yo no me percaté. Eso yo no me percaté.
Yo tampoco, todavía no.
Mira cómo se mueve, no, Dios.
Ahí me doy cuenta.
Nene es el único que se regala.
Te soy sincero, nene. Yo pensaba que tú ahí estabas bromeando, como siempre sabes hacer.
Yo sé, porque mi familia también te estaba molestando, pero...
Sí, yo te dije que no digas esa cosa porque de ahí la chica no quería... No
Yo no tengo un buen miedo.
No iba a terminar de ver
Tengo
la
un buen
película.
miedo.
De verdad.
Si hasta ahora tengo frío.
Sí, no les queremos creer.
Se me vuelve a despertar la piel. Yo digo,
Mira, ya
¡Uy!
me tiraron la botella.
Sí, la botella.
Ahí me tiraron la
¡Botella!
botella, ahí me tiraron la botella y yo de una salí corriendo.
No, yo te lo juro que yo no aguanto un día más. Se cayó
Uy,
mi
no,
lucha ahí.
no.
Yo no aguanto un día más.
Mira, ¿sí ves la luz que pasa
Mira,
por
ahí,
ahí?
en la puerta de alguien como la tenía trancada.
Mira,
no podía
Mira,
salir.
sí, uy,
mira.
¿sí ves?
Sí.
Ahí pasa.
mira, el susto, ¿sí es lo que me pasó en el susto?
Mira.
Uy, está igual, Dios mío santo. Oye, pero ¿por qué se cayó todo?
No sé, ahí nosotros nos fuimos, nosotros no nos íbamos a quedar ahí.
Mira lo que pasó ahí,
Right there in the footage, as the group is just kicking back, a doll sitting on the couch suddenly moves by itself with no explanation. If that wasn't enough, a bottle resting on the table also slides on its own without anyone going near it. Their home security camera caught the whole thing, and it didn't take long for everyone present to wonder whether something paranormal was behind it all. The Gongji-am psychiatric facility in South Korea has earned a dark reputation as one of the most haunted locations on the planet. It shut its doors in the 1990s under a cloud of mystery, with no clear explanation ever given for why. People in the surrounding area whisper that both patients and workers met strange ends inside those walls, and many believe the structure itself carries some kind of curse. Even so, YouTuber K-pop Dolo and his girlfriend Sarah made the decision to step inside and document their unsettling walkthrough on camera.
Cut open. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Hello? 안녕하세요. Here. Hey, grab the stuff. Okay. Hiya. Okay. All right, got it. Let's do it. Look at this. This person, Cameron, was here on Halloween last year. The same day we were supposed to be here.
Yeah.
November 1st, 2013. We could have ran into them. Jesus Christ. This is something like out of Silent Hill. Okay.
All sorts.
Once they were in, they came across rotting patient beds, fire-ravaged rooms, and perhaps most bizarrely of all, footprints running across the walls. So did they actually manage to record something supernatural tied to the dark history of everyone who suffered within those halls? Or is the whole thing just a carefully staged stunt? That's for you to decide. A group of nurses were killing time before their shift at a hospital, but what started as a relaxed morning quickly turned into something far more unsettling when they realized this place was anything but ordinary.
You guys, haunted ER? We're gonna go. Haunted ER, haunted ER. I'm really good too. Oh my god, my head is huge. Chloe, so I can't even...
Camera.
Huh?
It's just close to the camera.
Yeah, you're right. We got a chance for the haunted ER.
Oh god.
Feels like...
I'm not excited about this. I didn't even get a finish eating my sandwich.
It feels like we're getting on a... You nervous? Are you nervous?
Because it's hard.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
They stepped into an elevator and made their way toward a specific room, visibly on edge the whole time. The nurse behind the camera kept checking in with the others, asking whether they were scared. Something about where they were headed clearly had everyone rattled.
Yeah, it's just a little doll. They want us training.
Oh, it's a train doll.
Put it here.
It's still weird though.
Nah, look at her.
That's so weird. Sorry, I thought you were about. I felt you were about. It's just freaky. You guys wave in the camera right now.
Tucked beneath a desk was a deeply unsettling doll that looked like something straight out of a nightmare. As the staff gathered around it and some pulled out their phones to film, it became apparent this wasn't a first-time encounter. These nurses seemed to already know something was lurking there and were deliberately going in search of it.
Go in.
No, go on.
Go in. Go in. Figure out why the lights are. I don't like that.
Here's
I
why the
don't like
lights
that.
are on.
Do
They
it.
look like evil eyes. You guys gonna come with me?
Yeah,
Look,
of course you're
I'm
gonna go with you.
Thanks. Ooh, it feels weird. Is that you?
Yeah.
That's where it feels weird. Ooh.
As they moved through the area, the tension kept building, and it wasn't entirely obvious what they were hoping to find. One of them swung open a door, revealing a pitch-black corridor, and as he stepped forward into the darkness, something suddenly shifted, sending him stumbling backward and bolting straight toward the rest of the group.
Ooh, the curtain moved.
No, it did.
Yeah, it did. It moved.
Shut up.
It
No,
moved.
it
It moved. Yes, it did.
Why would a
It did.
curtain move?
How did you not see that? Oh, okay.
Look carefully, and you can catch another movement deep in that dark hallway right as he retreats, which sent the entire group sprinting away in a panic. Several of the nurses were convinced they had encountered the spirit of a child, largely due to that doll they discovered earlier. So, what do you think was actually going on here? Reddit user going by the name Cannonball Maven recently posted some deeply unsettling photographs. The story behind them: a friend of a colleague had been at a wedding, no kids in attendance whatsoever, snapping lively fun shots throughout the event. Then, in the very last photo, something unexpected showed up. Tucked into the left side of the frame, wedged between a tree and a fence, stood a young girl, completely still, a faint smile on her face. The person who uploaded the images had made it absolutely clear there were no children at this wedding. So the question that immediately grabs you is, who is this girl and how did she materialize out of nowhere in the span of just a few seconds when every other shot shows nothing there? Look a little closer and something else becomes strange. Her clothing and overall look feel like they belong to a completely different decade, specifically the 1990s, and viewers picked up on it too. One commenter wrote, "I was that age in the early 90s and I would have 100% worn exactly that." Plenty of others chimed in with agreement, and some went even further, throwing out theories about time slips, matrix glitches, or some kind of temporal bleed that dropped this girl into a 2026 photograph. Honestly, looking at her stirs up this weird combination of dread and nostalgia all at once. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you make of this. On June 24th, 2026, a woman named Carrie was riding horses with her daughter through the canyons leading up to Mount Shasta, California. She decided to go live on Facebook during the trail ride, and that's when she started picking up strange, unsettling voices seemingly coming from thin air.
Where is that coming from? It's like it's way over there, but it's also right here. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god. This is straight apocalyptic. Somebody is summoning something here. What is happening?
She eventually tracked down the source, a bunch of flower-shaped solar-powered speakers, and became convinced they were emitting some kind of disturbing frequency. Not knowing what to make of any of it, she decided the smart move was to head back down before nightfall. But her viewers weren't satisfied with that. They pushed her to go back up and dig deeper, and despite the fact that it was now pitch black outside, she actually listened to them.
There's a mountain. And look at, there is another 100 of them out there. But it's like this Lemurian beacon system. I have no idea. Somebody put a lot of effort into this. Come on. This is insane. I guess they're solar powered. This one actually makes sense. The other ones are just white noise. Right, come on, all right, well, we're getting out of here. Stat. Jordan left me.
What she found was an enormous spread of speakers scattered across the ground, stretching out a considerable distance. She didn't catch it herself, but sharp-eyed viewers noticed something chilling. The instant she swings the camera around, there's a split-second glimpse of what appears to be a dark figure with glowing eyes staring right at her. She made it home safely, and when she returned the following day, she found out the speakers had been set up on private land right alongside government-owned property.
Worship, praise, thanks, obey, and
Some of them were playing religious recordings, others strange chanting, and because none of them were in sync, the combined effect was deeply unsettling to everyone who heard it. But as always, listen for yourself. Recorded on March 10th, 2025, this footage comes from a woman named Alexandria and her crew, who were tearing down an abandoned house on a stormy, rain-soaked day by setting it ablaze, all with full authorization from the local fire department. Before lighting anything, they walked through the entire structure to confirm it was completely empty. They ignited the bedroom closet first, and the fire rapidly consumed the rest of the home. But during the filming of the demolition, something deeply unsettling was captured on camera. See for yourself.
Okay. I'm gonna try and walk in and see what it's like. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's been down low.
You should see it right now. It's amazing. Look through the window. It's like exploding. Hold your breath and go look. Just make sure you can get out because it's pretty. It's pretty amazing inside there. Did you look in the doorway?
Yeah, when you're coming out.
No, better not be.
Grand and Autumn better be out there. We're out. Yeah, hey, Grand and Autumn, you'll get out.
Woo! It's getting out of hand right now. Hey, the water's dripping off the house is hot. Whoa. Whoa, you hear that? Gee whiz. It's like busting the glass out. Look at that. Gee, you hear it? Anywhere close. And this is after raining all night long with it. All day.
There appears to be a tall, dark figure standing at the far end of the hallway, briefly peering out from behind a door before pulling back out of sight. Some viewers also point out what looks like a hazy, mist-like shape drifting toward the flames. That second one might just be pareidolia at work, but the dark figure at the hallway? That's hard to dismiss. And it gets stranger. Once the crew moves outside to film the burning structure, that same looming dark shape appears to be slipping away through the back of the building as the fire closes in around it. Alexandria and her team are convinced they witnessed something paranormal that day, but just like so many clips before it, no definitive answer exists. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you believe. The clips you're about to see all come from the account shown on your screen right now. It's run by a woman who was at home with her sister when their house alarm suddenly triggered out of nowhere. Rattled and confused, the two of them pulled up the security camera feed immediately, and here's what they were met with.
Do you hear that? Can you check the security footage? Oh no. Oh no. What is it?
The footage showed the front door standing wide open, raising the alarming possibility that someone had walked inside. As they were watching, they heard the bedroom door creak open, and in a complete panic, the two of them leapt straight out of the window. Strangely enough, the indoor camera showed no visible intruder at that moment, but when they went back and reviewed the full recording afterward, what they found was far more unsettling.
I didn't really notice is that with all the recordings from the security footage, it just randomly cut off on one of them and left it as unlabeled. And obviously I didn't want to bother looking through for the blinks, you know, and so I didn't even notice, but one of the blinks is the one that has the shadow figure running past, so here it is.
Clear.
Their blood ran cold when they came to the realization that it wasn't a human being who had come through that door. It appeared to be some kind of entity, a shadow figure that had forced its way in, visible several times throughout the footage reflected in the surface of a toaster, darting around at an impossible speed. On top of that, the camera continued flagging motion alerts repeatedly, particularly in one darkened room. Sometime later, they posted a follow-up video breaking down exactly what had gone down that evening.
I came back from my phone and like later on we were looking at the footage again, just like with a clear mind.
Yeah. If it is something, I don't want to... The fact that it just moved so quickly.
Yeah.
But then like the motion capture camera didn't see that shape. And like when it was
how
tracking
could it have
the
even
movement.
known that it was movement?
Like why is it that you see it one time and then in the rest of the footage there's like no... It's picking up on something but there's nothing there. So why is it that we only see it like one time? But it's... it just freaks me the fuck.
I think that, I don't know, I could have been just like, it's not human and you can't really like tell what is going on, but like...
They were absolutely certain that something not of this world had stepped into their home that night, and had even attempted to get into the room where they were hiding when that door swung open on its own. After that night, nothing further occurred. But what's your take on this footage? What do you think crossed that threshold, and did it actually leave when they did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Coming in at number 2, a man named Jay was partying through his shift at a metal warehouse when something in his peripheral vision stopped him cold. Whatever he caught a glimpse of was enough to shake him, and he wasted no time pulling out his phone to start recording, hoping to capture it again. For a moment, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but then it happened a second time, and this time his camera was ready for it. You can see a man casually walking out through an open door, completely unremarkable, until he comes back. The moment he steps back through that doorway, something goes deeply wrong. With each step further inside, his body seems to dissolve out of existence, fading from reality with this eerie, almost alien-like quality. Jay looked around the warehouse in total disbelief, wondering if anyone else had just witnessed what he had. Even after going back and watching this clip over and over, I genuinely can't land on a solid explanation. Some people argue it's just a trick of the light combined with the camera angle. Others are convinced it's some kind of glitch in the Matrix, and then there's the crowd that thinks something paranormal is behind it entirely. But honestly, I'll let you be the judge of that one. A woman pulling a late shift at a century-old theater decided to start recording after a series of strange things began happening around her. Earlier in the night, she had already been startled by a heavy door slamming shut on its own multiple times, despite the building being completely deserted. Curious but clearly on edge, she grabbed her camera and started documenting what was going on. See for yourself what she managed to capture.
Since when does it do this? I just heard the door slam like 2 times and then... My eyes are tearing. Oh my god. What the heck?
Not long after, the large theater door drifted open on its own, with nobody anywhere close to it. There were no open windows that could explain it. Then, as she stood there watching, the very same door moved again, swinging shut all by itself. She went back afterward and checked the whole area thoroughly, but turned up absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Whether there's some kind of environmental explanation or something far less rational at play, what happened that night is difficult to shake. This video was posted on September 22nd, 2024 by Sydney, the solo traveler running Sydney's State of Mind. Since April of last year, she's been crisscrossing America in her SUV, documenting stunning landscapes, road trip advice, and quiet moments of life on the open road. Her channel typically radiates good energy, embracing the freedom of traveling alone and discovering the world's hidden corners. But even the most seasoned wanderers occasionally find themselves in situations that are anything but feel good. This particular video is one of those moments, a peaceful camping excursion into the remote backcountry of southeast Missouri that gradually shifted into something far more unsettling. After hours behind the wheel, Sydney finally pulls up to the secluded stretch of wilderness she'd picked out for the evening. The day had been nothing short of perfect. Empty roads, warm golden light filtering through the trees, and that rare, untethered sense of freedom that only a solo road trip can offer. But the moment she climbs out to look over her chosen campsite, something stops her cold. The same woods that had seemed welcoming just moments before suddenly feel dense and oppressive, like they're watching her.
This looks so creepy. Oh, there's a fire tower up there. So apparently there's spots like at the end of this road right here. Well, it's supposed to be down this road. This all just looks really spooky. Okay, so basically the issue is that I was supposed to turn down that road down there, and there's a giant tree in front of it, and it looks really creepy and unkept. It's supposed to storm. I'm basically in a hurricane. I'm in like hurricane weather right now, and I have a feeling that if I stay this far deep in the woods, a bunch of branches are gonna fall and block me when I want to leave tomorrow, so I think I might just camp at the fire tower. I made it back to the fire tower.
Going with her gut, Sydney scraps her original plan entirely. There was just something off about that first location she couldn't shake. She eventually settles on an alternative spot that, while far from perfect, seems workable enough. Camp gets set up, dinner gets made, and the night begins. Though what's coming next is still completely unknown to her. When darkness rolls in, a sobering thought hits Sydney hard. She's deep inside bear country. The meal she just cooked, which had smelled so comforting moments ago, now feels like she's ringing a dinner bell for whatever is lurking out there. Every faint sound from the tree line, a rustle, a snapping twig, gets magnified tenfold by the anxiety building inside her.
Cooking spam, I've only had it one other time in my life. The only time I've had spam was on a ski weekend with people from my college, and this girl made spam. Well, this is only a tad creepy. I feel like I'm attracting all the bears. I'm actually really scared of the whole bear thing right now. I don't know what I was thinking. This was so smelly. I should not have made dinner. I actually am very freaked out. Putting my oven away, my stove away. This is just gonna be dirty in my car. I have this plate of food.
She does her best to stay composed, drawing on the safety knowledge she's picked up across years of trips like this. But the unease simply won't let go. The trees seem to press closer, shadows warping into shapes that don't quite make sense. One question keeps cycling through her head, growing louder by the minute. Should she stick it out, or cut her losses and leave? Rather than roll the dice, Sydney makes the call to retreat to her SUV. The vehicle's metal frame feels reassuring around her, and with her food now sealed inside, the immediate danger feels more contained. A wave of relief hits, but only briefly. Even locked inside the car, the tension from the surrounding forest doesn't fully release its grip. Every sound from outside sends her pulse spiking again. The idea that a bear, or something else entirely, could be circling just beyond the glass makes genuine rest feel out of reach.
To shake. Well, if this video gets posted, it's because I'm alive. Good. I didn't realize how hungry I was. I don't know if I finished the story about the spam, but the girl on the ski trip gave me spam. And it was so good. I was like, what the heck? Might be like, why are you eating outside? So I don't want to make the rest of my car smell and like have an animal try to get in while I'm sleeping. I'm so scared, but I need to eat. Oh my god. Thank you, Dad. Thank you so much. I don't think I've ever needed spotlights more than tonight. I just realized one of the pieces of spam fell on the ground after I put it on the plate, and I put it back on the plate so that nothing would eat it, so it wouldn't attract a bear. But I just realized I ate every single piece of spam, so I ate the one that fell on the ground. That's so funny. Okay, I'm checking to see if there's even a place to like pull in. You're probably like, wow, that made such a difference in where you're camping before. Well, I don't know. I'm just spooked. I'm spooked. So moving my campsite, even if it is like just 50 yards.
Eventually, exhaustion wins out, and Sydney drifts off to sleep inside the SUV. When morning light begins breaking through the canopy, she wakes up safe and sound, though carrying a much deeper appreciation for what the night had tested in her. Was it all an overreaction? Or did a combination of experience and raw instinct genuinely steer her away from danger? Either way, the takeaway is hard to argue with. Out in the wild, especially on your own, listening to that inner voice isn't optional. It's survival. Vautrin is a construction worker employed at a factory in Vietnam who occasionally posts unusual footage recorded around the facility, most of it pulled from security cameras. What's striking, though, is that the overwhelming majority of these strange incidents seem to be concentrated in one specific spot: the workers' laundry and shower room. In one of his more recent videos, he decided to go in and film the space himself, and what he ended up catching on camera was physical, undeniable activity unfolding right before his eyes.
Let me show you guys. Otherwise, you'll keep saying I'm acting. There. Did you guys hear that? Someone's knocking on the bathroom door. Oh, look at that face. There. That asshole Kubor and that spider. You sell stuff online. Why don't you come and act as my sidekick? Act to get likes, my ass. Look. The machine turned on by itself. Look. Oh, the door. You guys watch. Oh, shit. Earlier, some of you said someone was pulling it. Some said there was a string. I'll film that spot in a bit so you can see. I'm a bit shaken up, guys. Oh. Today I'm fully prepared, going all in. Oh. See, there's no one around. Look, guys. The bathroom wall. The bathroom wall is 4 meters high. Who could climb up there? See that? No one's around, no strings or anything, okay? Oh, holy shit. Oh, they're knocking again. Oh, knocking again, guys. Fuck, scared me to death. That helmet. It's up there. See, the ladder goes all the way here. Let me get a knife. I'm going all in. Let me close the door. Look, guys. Is anyone around? See, there's no...
Let's walk through exactly what's going on here. The moment he enters the room, the lid on the first washing machine drops completely shut on its own. Now, that particular model does come with an auto-close function that activates when the machine is started remotely via phone, so it's not too hard to dismiss that first moment. But then, almost immediately after, the door on the second washing machine right beside it, which has no such automatic feature, slowly swings closed all by itself. On top of that, a loud banging begins resonating from the shower area just next door, and there's faint music audible somewhere in the background. Then, without any warning whatsoever, a worker's hard hat resting near the machines launches itself across the room, sliding directly toward the darkened showers where that banging had been coming from. Vautrin walks over to get a closer look at the helmet, and you can clearly see there are no strings, wires, or fishing line connected to it anywhere. He checks inside the empty shower room and searches all around the machines, but he's completely alone in the building. Whatever sent that helmet skidding across the floor wanted him to know it was already there waiting. In the clip that follows, a TikTok account by the name of Oshayo55 uploaded a video on June 19th, 2023, capturing the uploader and a group of friends hanging out in what appears to be some sort of park. The footage starts off casually, showing them kicking back and enjoying each other's company. But then, without any warning, the person filming suddenly reacts in shock and rapidly zooms in towards something they've spotted off in the distance. See for yourself what had them so rattled. It might be easy to miss at first glance given how small it is, but the moment your eyes lock onto it, the feeling it gives you is genuinely disturbing and you simply can't look away. A tiny figure of some kind appears to be creeping out from behind a wall. For a large number of viewers, this figure bears a striking resemblance to the Pombero, a legendary creature deeply rooted in Paraguayan folklore and a well-known entity in Guarani mythology, described as a small, shadowy being with a humanoid form. Sadly, a definitive explanation for this footage will probably never come, so all we can really do is... A grieving young mother who recently lost her husband believes the footage from her home security camera captured something supernatural, One morning, shortly after his passing, she's home alone with her baby and needs to step into another room for a moment. She leaves her son in the living room briefly. The front door is open, but the screen door is closed across the frame. So while her little boy can see out to the yard, there's no risk of him wandering outside. But then something unexpected happens. Within just a minute or two, she hears her son chatting away, apparently talking to somebody. Then comes the unsettling sound of the front door slamming shut on its own. She rushes to check on him, but her son seems completely unbothered, acting as though nothing out of the ordinary occurred, and there's clearly nobody else in the house. Baffled by what just happened, she pulls up the security camera footage to get some answers. What she finds moves her to tears. Something. Or someone outside appears to approach and attempts to pull open the screen door, but it's what the little boy says in that moment that utterly stuns his mother. The child then turns and walks away from the door with one arm lifted up in the air. Dozens of commenters pointed out that it looks exactly as though an invisible presence is gripping the boy's hand and guiding him away. What makes it even harder to explain is that the moment the baby is led away, the door slams shut by itself, despite no visible person being anywhere near it. The young mother posted the clip to social media, claiming the ghost of her late husband intervened to keep their son from getting out that day. But what's your take? Was a protective spirit watching over his child, or is there a more rational explanation? A TikTok creator who goes by Mad finds herself caught in what feels like a living nightmare, facing a series of paranormal incidents that appear to have been triggered by a reckless Ouija board session.
I'm sitting here watching the games, and I heard what sounded like this stove open and close. I'm not even around, bro. That's 1,000. I know what it sounds like when the stove opens and closes. What the Yo! What the is going on here? Yo! Bro, I'm home all the alone. Yo, this, bro. Bro. What do I do? What do I do, bro? I can't stay in this.
You can see the tension written all over her as she films the sound of her oven door swinging open and shut on its own. Just when the kitchen seems to settle, the silence is violently broken. Cups launch themselves off a cabinet shelf, followed by a metal bottle slamming down onto the floor, making an already suffocating atmosphere feel even heavier. Then, a cabinet door drifts open by itself, with nothing and no one anywhere near it. Maddie, completely paralyzed by fear, instinctively starts edging backward toward the exit, every muscle in her body coiled and ready to bolt. And just as she reaches the doorway, a heavy bang erupts from somewhere upstairs, driving home the terrifying possibility that she is not the only presence in that house. The sheer relentlessness of these events leaves her in a state of pure dread. But if there is one thing to take away from all of this, it is this. Certain games and occult rituals belong firmly in the realm of fiction, because the moment you drag them into the real world, the consequences can be very difficult to live with. A man uploaded a chilling clip to Reddit that had been recorded by his home's backyard security camera at roughly 9:30 in the evening. In the video, his dog stands rigid and barks frantically, clearly reacting to something unseen nearby. Then, things took a genuinely disturbing turn. Judge for yourself what the camera picked up. Out of nowhere, a pair of semi-transparent dark legs come sprinting past the house, unmistakably human in shape. yet completely severed from any upper body. You can even see the dog notice the figure and lunge forward as if trying to give chase. What makes this even harder to dismiss is that a neighbor just down the street had their own security camera rolling that same night, and it recorded the exact same thing. Several people living in that area have since come forward saying they heard unusual sounds that evening, and their dogs wouldn't stop barking for no apparent reason. So what's your explanation for what these cameras caught? For years, Luis did his best to rationalize everything away. Strange sounds, moved objects, and that persistent sensation of another presence in the house, even when he knew he was the only one there. Then came a night when brushing it off simply wasn't possible anymore. He grabbed his phone and started capturing everything as it unfolded.
Las 11 de la mañana. 1:52. Escuché que me están tocando la puerta, no mames. ¿Quién? Voy a cambiar la cámara para grabar.
It starts with pounding on the front door. Before moving to investigate, Luis holds up his phone to show the clock, 1:52 in the morning. Outside, the street sat completely dark and still, with no reason whatsoever for someone to be at his door at that hour. Still, he goes to check. He swings the door open and finds nothing, no one in sight. The trouble is, once he steps back inside, it becomes clear the night is far from over. Room by room, the quiet keeps breaking into new and unsettling sounds, almost as though something is deliberately drawing him from one space to the next. The dread builds fast, and at certain points, Luis starts to genuinely wonder whether an intruder might be concealed somewhere inside.
¿Quién es? ¿Quién es ahí? Voy a llamar a la policía.
By this point, Luis is searching the house in a full panic, desperate to find whoever, or whatever, is behind it all. When he reaches the garage, he threatens to call the police, but rather than things quieting down, the activity seems to escalate. Sounds begin reverberating through every corner of the house, and then, just seconds later, a whisper cuts through, uncomfortably close, as though someone's mouth were right beside his ear. Luis made it through that ordeal, or so he believed at the time.
Vean lo que se ve aquí en este reflejo. Y en la esquina del sillón se ve esa sombra, pero no hay nada. No hay nada ahí. ¿Ven? Ahí está. Esto ya está muy cabrón.
A few days passed, and just as he was starting to feel like it was finally behind him, the house pulled him back. This time, there was no knocking, no whispers. It was something he caught in the reflection of the glass that stopped him cold. For just a brief moment, a dark figure is visible, seated on the living room couch. Luis spins around to look directly at it. Nothing is there. He turns back to the reflection, and the figure has returned. only now it appears to have moved closer. Each time he looks away and back again, the gap between them seems to have narrowed, as if the presence only advances the moment his eyes leave it. Then, things take their most disturbing turn yet. Whatever had been inside the house now seems to have shifted to the outside. Without a second thought, Luis bolts to the door and throws it open. And just like that very first night, there is absolutely nobody there.
¿Quién eres? ¿Dónde estás?
On their own, maybe each of these moments has some kind of rational explanation, but when you stack them all together, same house, same person, different nights, it's not hard to understand why Luis came to believe that something else had made that house its home too. This next strange clip was filmed at an exclusive private gathering held inside a banquet hall somewhere in Russia. The event drew billionaires, supermodels, and high-ranking politicians, essentially the wealthiest and most influential figures in the country. Renowned Russian musician Sergei Shnurov and his group Rubel had been booked to play at the function, but things took a deeply unsettling turn when a sudden, brief power outage hit the venue. What the footage reveals is a number of attendees with eerily luminous eyes. Only a handful are visible in the recording itself, but eyewitnesses on the scene reportedly said that the majority of guests at that party shared the same disturbing glow.
На самом деле, как выступление, но что-то случилось со светом в прекрасный момент, просто погас. Почему-то у большинства людей, которые были в зале, а там были люди совершенно такого серьезного полета, стали светиться глаза. Барабанщик у нас, собственно, выронил палочки, и больше мы песен не играли. Было пи***ц как страшно, поэтому мы съебались оттуда даже, я и не помню, как мы дома оказались. А кто эти люди?
Once this footage made its way online, the internet absolutely ran with it. Speculation ranged from claims that Russia's cultural elite were secretly extraterrestrials or reptilian beings, all the way to theories that the entire crowd were vampires. But the theory that gained the most traction was hardly less unsettling. A significant number of people became convinced that these powerful, ultra-wealthy individuals were participating in secretive biological experiments designed to halt the aging process. So the explanations here are all over the place, but what they share in common is that every single one of them is deeply unsettling. The question that nobody has been able to answer still stands. What on earth would cause an entire room full of Russia's elite to have eyes like that? A mother by the name of Amy regularly posts heartwarming content online, particularly gentle footage of herself and her little one drifting off to sleep together. But on June 14th, 2026, their bedroom security camera recorded something entirely unexpected while the two of them were sound asleep. What started as just another cozy family clip quickly became something far more disturbing and hard to explain. See for yourself what unfolded. As Amy and her child lie there completely unconscious, totally oblivious to their surroundings, the security camera picks up motion near the edge of the bed. Then a peculiar dark smoke-like form materializes behind them, drifting through the shadows. Shortly after, the pillowcases appear to subtly crumple, almost as though an invisible force was pushing down on them. Then, out of nowhere, the large pillow flips over entirely on its own. A few moments pass and it slides back again, with no one touching it. The camera tilts downward to track the movement, but there is absolutely nothing there. No person, no hand, no rational explanation in sight. Amy says that out of every night she has ever filmed her family sleeping, nothing remotely like this has ever shown up before. So what exactly was that dark smoky shape drifting behind them? Could it be a technical glitch, a passing shadow, or maybe a particle floating too close to the lens? Or was there genuinely something supernatural present in that room? And might it have been the very thing responsible for moving that pillow? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. For this next entry, we're diving into one of the recently declassified UFO files put out by the United States Department of War. Cataloged under the designation DAO UAP PRO 48, the footage was reportedly recorded in 2024 via an infrared sensor mounted on a US military platform and subsequently handed over to the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, known as AARO, for further review. Unfortunately, almost no supporting information was released alongside the clip, so we're left to draw our own conclusions from what the camera actually captured. And what it captured is hard to ignore. As you can see for yourself, the footage shows an unidentified object navigating through an offshore wind farm. Perhaps the most striking moment occurs when the object appears to thread its way directly between several turbines, giving us a clearer picture of how it's moving through that space before it ultimately vanishes out of frame. The clip is short, no question about that, but it's undeniably compelling to watch. The sheer size of those wind turbines actually works in our favor here. It makes the object that much more noticeable as it cuts through the scene. Without any supporting data, pinning down exactly what we're dealing with is genuinely difficult. The absence of context leaves the door wide open for all kinds of theories and discussion. As striking as this footage is, more background detail would go a long way. Knowing what preceded the encounter and what followed it would change everything. Still, this is a legitimately fascinating piece of footage, the kind you'll probably find yourself replaying a few times. So what's your take? Is this something mundane caught under unusual conditions? Or are we looking at something that truly defies explanation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Liam is a paranormal investigator based in England who has amassed a substantial following on TikTok by streaming his nighttime explorations directly to his audience. He's carved out a reputation for venturing into desolate locations after dark, abandoned grounds, isolated graveyards, in pursuit of anything that can't be easily explained. Part of what gives footage like this such a creeping power is where it comes from. These are live broadcasts, captured and transmitted as events were actively unfolding. With thousands of people watching in real time, there was virtually no room for post-production trickery or clever editing. On one particular investigation, his attention landed on a deserted house. What his camera picked up that night has kept people arguing about the same thing ever since. Was there a perfectly rational explanation, or was something genuinely occupying that building?
In this empty house. At first sight, there's nothing there. A mysterious figure appears.
Even before anything happens, the atmosphere of this footage is deeply uncomfortable. Liam is entirely on his own inside a pitch-black cemetery when his camera drifts toward a derelict church sitting on the grounds. For just a moment, the lens lingers on a broken window, offering a glimpse of what looks like a completely vacant interior beyond the damaged glass. Then, just a few seconds on, everything shifts. When the camera swings away and circles back to that same window, a shape has appeared where nothing stood before. A dark, human-like silhouette is now visible through the fractured pane. The figure doesn't move an inch, It just stands there, oriented in Liam's direction. What makes this so hard to shake is precisely that stillness. No flinching, no stepping back into the shadows, no sign whatsoever that whatever is behind that glass is even aware of the camera pointing at it. It simply remains there, watching. And for countless viewers, that's the one detail that makes this footage so deeply unsettling. The following clip was captured 3 in the morning by a man in what appears to be a residential home when they started hearing something that didn't belong. A loud, rhythmic banging coming from behind a closed door at the end of the hallway. Not a random creak, not the house settling. This was forceful and consistent, like something on the other side was deliberately making itself known. Armed with a flashlight as their only light source, they moved down the dark hallway toward the door, and you can feel the tension just in how the beam shakes as they approach. The banging doesn't slow down. It doesn't stop. Watch. The moment the door swings open, the banging cuts off completely. Instantly, like a switch was flipped, revealing nothing but a steep wooden staircase dropping into an empty, unfinished basement. A cardboard box at the bottom. That's it. Then, a single loud bang erupts from somewhere at the foot of those stairs and the door slams shut. Within seconds, the rhythmic pounding starts right back up, just as aggressive, just as relentless as before. What makes this so hard to dismiss is the intelligence of it. The banging stopped the moment the door opened, as if whatever was causing it knew. Skeptics would argue pipes, thermal expansion, or an animal trapped in the walls, and under ordinary circumstances, those are reasonable explanations. But pipes don't stop on cue when a door opens. They don't resume the moment it closes. Some viewers think this is consistent with what paranormal researchers call a responsive haunting, activity that reacts directly to the witness rather than playing out like background noise. Others believe something was luring whoever was holding that camera to open that door. And if you think about what was waiting at the bottom of those stairs, or what wasn't, the question isn't what caused the banging, it's why it wanted that door open. The following video was recorded on the night of September 7th of 2024 at around 8 in the evening in what appears to be a residential neighborhood somewhere in the suburbs. Whoever captured this was filming through a window, pointing their phone at a security monitor, which gives the whole thing that shaky, slightly washed out quality you'll notice right away. The kind of footage that already feels like something's wrong before you've even seen anything. The street below is quiet, lit only by a few streetlights cutting through the dark, and a dark-colored car is already parked along the curb. For a few seconds, nothing moves. Watch. At the very edge of the front garden, a figure bursts into view at an incredible speed. Within a second, it vaults onto the fence, balancing there briefly before appearing to pause and look out toward the road. Moments later, it drops back down, runs toward a white car parked nearby, and then heads in the direction of the house the vehicle is sitting in front of before disappearing from view. The speed is what immediately caught viewers' attention. Some believed it was simply a person cutting through the neighborhood, climbing the fence to avoid being seen before making their way toward the nearby property. Others weren't convinced. A number of paranormal enthusiasts pointed out that the figure's movement appears unusually agile, comparing it to reports of so-called crawler sightings, humanoid creatures described as moving on all fours, scaling fences effortlessly, and pausing to observe from elevated positions before vanishing into the darkness. Similar reports have appeared online for years, though none have ever been verified. Of course, security cameras flatten depth and distort motion, making ordinary people and animals look far stranger than they really are. So was it just someone taking a shortcut through the neighborhood, or did the camera capture something that wasn't entirely human? Now in this next clip, a home security system captures something that no one in the house was awake to see, at least no one living. The footage was recorded late at night by 2 static cameras, one mounted outside near the front door and one positioned indoors at a high angle, looking down toward a hallway door. The house is quiet, the hallway completely empty, and nothing looks out of the ordinary. Watch. First, a fog-like figure passed quickly. Then, the white 6-panel door at the end of the hallway slowly swings shut on its own, smooth, deliberate, and without any visible cause. No draft, no pet, no person anywhere in frame. Some viewers think it's as simple as air pressure or an uneven floor, but if you watch the motion, it moves with an almost intentional steadiness that's hard to dismiss. Others believe it's exactly the kind of subtle, low-level activity that suggests something is moving through the space unseen. What closed that door? This next video was recorded by a baby monitor camera in the early hours of December 16th, 2022 at around 12:39 a.m., the kind of footage that parents never want to find when they go back and review overnight recordings. The room is dark, the house is quiet, and a young girl is standing at the head of her crib, both hands gripping the top rail, the way toddlers do when they're restless and not quite ready to settle. Nothing about that moment looks unusual. Then, it happens. Watch. At around the 2-second mark, the girl is suddenly and violently pulled backward. Her hands release the rail instantly. Her body snaps flat onto the mattress, and the impact is audible. There's no wobble, no slow lean, no gradual loss of grip. Her scream follows immediately, loud and distressed, and it doesn't stop. What makes this so hard to dismiss is the nature of the movement itself. If you watch her posture just before the fall, she's stable, balanced, actively holding on. A typical stumble would involve a gradual shift of weight, maybe a sideways topple. This is a direct backward pull that happens in under a second. Some viewers believe this is exactly what a poltergeist type interaction looks like. Not a slow creak or a door swinging, but a sudden physical force directed at a person. Others think the most likely explanation is that her sleep sack or clothing caught on something at the rail and dragged her down, which the footage itself makes very difficult to confirm either way. Whatever actually happened in that crib that night, the footage gives you just enough detail to form an opinion, and just enough ambiguity to doubt it. So what do you think pulled her down? Take a look at this next case, recorded by a security camera on the night of May 7th of 2026 at around 10:51 p.m. A man in a light-colored t-shirt and shorts walks across the driveway holding what looks like a folded piece of clothing, then disappears off-frame. And for a few seconds, nothing happens. The driveway sits empty under shifting colored lights. Watch. Right there in the middle of the driveway, a bright fuzzy humanoid shape appears from nowhere, then vanishes in a massive flash of white light, just gone. Some viewers think it's a camera artifact or a clever edit, pointing to that abrupt cut between the two views. Others aren't so sure, because whatever that shape was, it doesn't move like a person. It simply materializes, then disappears. What do you think caused that flash? The following video was recorded inside a dimly lit home at nighttime, a quiet house that, by all appearances, looks completely ordinary. The person filming moves slowly through the space, a handheld phone casting just enough light to make out the shelving unit packed with dishes, the tiled floors, the beige curtain over a far window. Nothing seems off at first, but then the camera begins a slow, deliberate push toward a white door at the far end of the room, a door with 3 vertical panels, 3 bolt locks, and a long, dark pane of reflective glass. Whatever drew them toward it, they kept moving closer. Watch.
Bajé a tomarme un poco de agua y empecé a escuchar claramente cómo están tocando la puerta de enfrente. Esa puerta no da con la calle, esa puerta da a donde yo hago los tatuajes, al negocio. Y si están tocando no hay nadie, no hay nadie. Igual también escuché ruidos aquí, pero no alcancé a grabarlos. Escuchen. Se estaban escuchando. Escuchen. Se escucha claramente. Se logra ver un reflejo allá, pero realmente no sé lo que sea. ¿Qué es eso? No mames. No manches, ¿qué es eso? La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Se ve claramente, amigos. Estoy seguro que al dar la vuelta no se va a dejar ver ya. Pero vean, se ve clarito esa sombra. Sin rostro y sin nada, véanlo. Estoy al límite, aunque no lo crean. Estoy al límite, amigos. ¿Dónde estás? Perdón, me empiezan a dar ganas de eructar. ¿Dónde te escondiste? ¿Dónde te escondiste? La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder.
Emerging slowly in the reflection of that glass panel is a tall, slender, dark humanoid shape, standing completely still, positioned as if it were right there in the room behind whoever was filming. It doesn't move aggressively, it just stands for nearly a full minute. Then it fades, and when the camera returns to the door at the end of the clip, the reflection is empty. Many viewers immediately use the term shadow person to describe what they saw, a label that's become common in paranormal communities to describe dark, featureless humanoid shapes that appear briefly and seem to observe rather than interact. Others pushed back, arguing it's a trick of the low light and the smudged glass creating a convincing illusion. What makes it harder to dismiss is the patience of the figure. It doesn't startle, it doesn't rush, it lingers. Then, in what appears to be a follow-up recording at the same door on another night, the same person returned. And this time they weren't alone in what they experienced. Listen closely.
No mames. No manches, ¿qué es eso? La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Estoy al límite, amigos.
He's barely a few words in before the knocking starts. Sharp, rhythmic, coming from the door itself with no visible source, and his voice breaks into Spanish, shocked and then afraid, cycling into prayer. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder, repeated 3 times in a trembling voice before he finally admits, Estoy al límite, amigos. I'm at my limit, friends. The figure is back in the glass. Same tall, dark silhouette, same stillness. Skeptics will point to the smudged, reflective surface as an easy explanation for the shape, but the knocking has no such easy answer. So what exactly is standing in that reflection? And what is it knocking for? Because whatever it is, it keeps coming back to the same door, on the same side of the glass, and it seems to know when the camera is there. Now, in this next clip, a man is standing in a doorway at night, filming the living room of what appears to be his home. A room with a crib, an armchair, and furniture he clearly knows well. He's already noticed something strange and wants to document it properly, so he positions himself at the threshold, reaches over to the light switch, and sets the scene. Watch.
This is actually creepy. Watch this. The light's on in the living room. Okay. I turn it off. Watch what happens. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There's a silhouette right in front of me. Nah, this is messed up. I turn the light back on. There's nothing there. So where the hell is that shadow coming from?
The moment the lights go off, a tall, opaque, human-shaped silhouette materializes in the center of the room, standing completely still right where the armchair is. When he flips the light back on, it's gone. Nothing there. Just the chair with clothes draped over it. Then the lights go off a second time and it comes back in the exact same spot, and this time it shifts. A subtle movement, like it's adjusting its weight. His breathing throughout is heavy and audible, and at one point he asks the question you're probably asking yourself too. So where the hell is that shadow coming from? Skeptics would argue this is a camera exposure trick. When the room light cuts out and the only illumination is the faint glow behind him, the auto exposure on his phone could render any person standing in that room as a solid black silhouette. That would explain why it vanishes the moment the main light comes back on. But that explanation only holds if someone else was standing in that dark room with him. And if there was, why didn't he mention it? A crib sits just to the left of that silhouette. Whatever was standing there, it was standing right next to it. The following video dates back to 2016, when a lady was 9 years old, spending time at home with her cousin, doing what most kids do, playing around, recording random moments, and not thinking too much about what might be happening in the background. Years later, after strange things in the house began to resurface, unexplained sounds, subtle movements, and that persistent feeling that something wasn't quite right, she decided to go back and review old footage, hoping they might have missed something back then. And that's when she found this. Watch closely.
Dude, what the heck, man? Who are you? Hello? What was that? Did you guys see that? Vines. Come on. Come here. Hello from the other side. Walking really funny. At least I got that on camera. Bye.
First, an unusual light appears. It's brief, easy to miss, but clearly there. And then, something else. A figure. When she reviewed the clip again as an adult, she said the shape looked like a baby figure. Small, low to the ground, and oddly formed. But once the video was shared, people had very different interpretations. Some were convinced it didn't look like a child at all. They believed it looked like a demonic figure. Others made a different comparison entirely, saying it resembled Pennywise. For context, Pennywise is a fictional entity from It by Stephen King, often portrayed as a shape-shifting being that commonly appears as a clown to lure children, but is actually something far more sinister beneath the surface. It's known for taking forms that feel familiar, yet deeply unsettling. And that comparison only made the clip more disturbing for viewers, because if something in that video really did resemble a child, then it becomes harder to explain. In this next video, a bus driver who had been working late shifts for years shares something that completely changed the way he viewed those quiet, empty routes at night, especially because he was used to long hours, isolated roads, and the kind of silence that most people would already find unsettling, yet had never experienced anything he couldn't logically explain until this particular night. After completing his final stop, he did what he always does, checking through his rearview mirror carefully to make sure every passenger had gotten off, scanning each row from front to back until he was certain the bus was completely empty. And once he confirmed there was no one left, he began the drive back to the station, already thinking about heading home to his family after a long day. For a while, everything felt normal. The road quiet, the bus steady, nothing out of place. And then, this happened. Watch. While he is driving, with absolutely no passengers on board, a voice suddenly echoes from inside the bus, loud enough to be clearly heard, saying, "I'm getting off here." But when he checks again, there is no one there. Some believe this could be a case where a past moment somehow imprints itself onto a place and replays under certain conditions, especially in environments like buses that carry countless people and experiences over time. But until more clips are shared, this one remains unsolved. Now, this next video was recorded by David, a name some of you might already recognize, especially if you've been following the channel for a while. For those who don't know, David once brought home a doll, something that seemed harmless at first, maybe even interesting because of its age and appearance, but not long after, he realized it was the biggest mistake of his life. His nights became restless, filled with strange figures appearing in his room, fleeting shapes that never stayed long enough to fully understand, and a voice that would wail in the dark, sometimes calling out different names, none of which he recognized. It got so intense that he eventually locked the doll inside a cage, placing a Bible and rosary on top of it, hoping it would contain whatever was attached to it. But even that didn't stop it. One night, after falling asleep, he had a nightmare so vivid it forced him awake. And when he opened his eyes, he saw this. Watch.
Tenía una pesadilla y despierto. ¿Por qué me estás jodiendo a cada rato? ¿Qué quieres? No entiendo qué es lo que... Ese, el quemado. Ese. Y no sé si escucharon lo que... No entendí muy bien. Pero... algo se escuchó. ¡Ah! Ahora sí sentí mucha adrenalina. Se desenfoca. No sé qué gana. Estoy escuchando música aquí de relajamiento. O sea, estaba durmiendo. Ya son las, ¿qué? 4:51 de la mañana. No entiendo. No entiendo. En serio, ya no sé qué hacer. Alexa, luz del cuarto blanco frío. Joder.
According to David, this isn't something he's seen once. He claims that same face appears to him almost every night, but the moment he switches on the light, it's gone. No movement toward the door, no sound of footsteps, and no space under the bed large enough for anything to hide. Now, did the doll bring something into his life? Or did it simply reveal something that was already waiting? You decide. The following video was recorded by a CCTV camera inside a man's home, capturing something that only came to his attention after he had already left the house for the evening. He had stepped out briefly with his nephew, who was visiting for the holidays, and everything seemed completely normal at the time. The house locked, quiet, and empty, just the way he left it. But on their way back, he received a notification from his security system, the kind that usually signals movement or unexpected activity inside the house. At first, he assumed it was nothing serious, maybe a minor glitch or something small triggering the sensor, but when he opened the footage to check, he saw this.
D. Front. Door. Center. Center is open. Disarm now. Disarm now.
After he shared the video, a lot of people were quick to dismiss it, suggesting that someone must have been inside the house, that the whole thing was staged, or that it was simply a person checking the room before entering. But that explanation raises its own questions, because if it were a person, why do the eyes reflect like that? I'll let you be the judge on this. In this next clip, a man shares an experience that began in the most ordinary way. Something as simple as going downstairs in the middle of the night to get a glass of water, a routine that should have taken only a few minutes, quiet, uneventful, and easily forgotten by morning. But as he made his way through the house, he started hearing something unusual. A voice, faint at first, almost blending into the silence, but clear enough that he knew it wasn't just his imagination. It didn't sound like a television or a phone left playing somewhere, and it definitely didn't sound like something coming from outside. It sounded inside the house. Curious, but uneasy, he decided to trace where it was coming from, slowly moving toward the direction of the sound, trying to make sense of it. And then, he saw a strange figure. Startled, he immediately ran back upstairs, his first instinct not just to get away, but to record it, especially because he had already brought in someone to bless the house before moving in, sensing from the beginning that something about the place didn't feel right. Watch closely.
Entonces pues sí me despertaron y me dio sed. Entonces bajé por un vaso de agua y me regresé corriendo. Quiero que vean esto. A ver si todavía está ahí. Es que siempre que les quiero mostrar algo, parece que desaparece para hacerme quedar mal. No, sí, sigue ahí. No sé si se esté viendo. Hay algo ahí parado. Y está altísimo. No sé qué es. Perdón con la luz, es que mi perro se está atravesando. Y si lo suelto, va y le ladra y me da miedo que vaya a pasar algo. Ay Dios, ahí se ve mejor, pero se ve más feo. Ya, deja de moverte. Perdónenme. ¿Hola? ¿Hola?
Some believe it could be tied to the house itself, something that was already there long before he moved in, and that the blessing may not have fully removed whatever presence remains. There's also the idea that shadows like this are not just random appearances, but deliberate observations, something watching, learning the layout, understanding the person living there. Until more updates are shared, this one remains unsolved. Now, this next clip was recorded by a family's security system, something they originally installed both inside and outside the house for a very practical reason. They foster dogs, and with multiple animals moving in and out over time, they needed a reliable way to monitor activity, keep track of movement, and make sure everything stayed under control, even when they weren't actively watching. For a long time, the cameras only ever captured what they expected. Dogs wandering around, the usual sounds of a busy home, nothing out of the ordinary. But over the past month, something else started appearing, something that doesn't move like a dog and doesn't resemble any adult living in the house either. Have a look.
Alright, so break it down again. Where is it? There's the arm.
Arm, leg. There's gonna be another leg walking here.
You see it go over the snow.
Arm, leg, and another leg.
So if that's a leg, what's that? Is that the baby with somebody?
At the moment, they don't believe it's anything dangerous. In their view, with the number of dogs constantly in the house, any real threat, especially something physical, would have triggered a reaction. Dogs are known for their sensitivity to unfamiliar presence, and if something was truly there, they assume the animals would have barked, reacted, or shown signs of distress. But that assumption is exactly what unsettles some viewers. Some theories suggest that certain entities don't register as physical threats, meaning they can exist within a space without triggering the usual instincts in animals. Others believe that if something is subtle enough, it can move through an environment without drawing attention. And then there's a more unsettling possibility that whatever the camera is picking up is already familiar with the space. Familiar enough not to disturb the dogs, and familiar enough to move without being challenged. What do you think about this? Or are there some other reasons we're not seeing? The following video was captured by a CCTV camera at Ronald's workplace, a location that, according to several employees, had already been the subject of quiet conversations long before this footage ever surfaced, with workers occasionally mentioning glimpses of black shapes passing through hallways, reflections that didn't match anyone present, and that lingering feeling of being watched even in areas covered by cameras. But it wasn't until this clip went viral that those concerns became impossible to ignore, with many employees reportedly pressuring management to take action, convinced that whatever had been dismissed as imagination was now clearly visible on camera. Watch closely.
Kaya bakit na ako doon? Punta na ako doon. Sa baba ako dumaan eh. Nakalaki nga yun, bukas na. Sasara niya ng biglayan kasi nga gano'n ba? Ang talaga yung mga sakit na lang yan. Ito lang, ano kami yun. Eh nako, kita mo ako paano sa maril dito? Ay, hindi. Apakayumaga. Eh, pakpal niya na. Okay na. Ang lakas nun sa kanya, no?
Dark shapes move through the space, and some viewers believe it's actually one shadow, moving so quickly and unpredictably that it creates the illusion of multiple figures. Others are convinced it's something far more unsettling, that these are multiple shadows, different entities moving within the same space, overlapping, crossing paths, each one existing independently. You be the judge. The following video was recorded around 2:40 a.m. when a man wakes up alone in his dark bedroom and quickly notices something's wrong. The cupboard door across the room is open, and the light he always leaves on as a warning has gone out. He explains this quietly in a hushed and clearly frightened voice, saying he covers that light while he sleeps so the glare doesn't hit his eyes, but he keeps it on specifically so he knows when what he calls the haunting hour has begun. Tonight, it's off, and that alone tells him something has already started. He keeps the camera trained on the dark doorway at the far end of the room, barely moving, barely breathing. Watch.
Where's the cupboard open? The lights are off. You see, I normally keep that light on because that's how I get to know the haunting has begun or not. And that's why I've actually covered the lights so that it doesn't glare on my eyes while I'm sleeping. The cupboard is open right now. I'm alone in the room. It's at the door. Stop it! Stop it, please!
Go fuck yourself, Jerry. Go fuck yourself. Shit. I'm not gonna stay here.
What starts as an uneasy silence erupts into something far more aggressive. Loud, metallic banging striking the door repeatedly, then a door handle rattling with violent force, the kind of sound that doesn't leave much room for a rational explanation. He shouts at it to stop, pleads with it, and then for just a few seconds, it does. The silence that follows is almost worse than the noise, and then a child's voice comes out of the dark, soft, clear, and completely disembodied, saying, "Daddy?" He doesn't hesitate. He screams back at it, calling it Jerry by name, which means this isn't the first time something has spoken to him like this. A loud crash follows immediately, as if whatever is in there responded to being called out. He scrambles out of bed and runs down the hallway toward the front door, not stopping once. Many believe mimicry is one of the most disturbing tools a negative presence can use, borrowing a voice that bypasses logic and hits somewhere much deeper. So, what exactly is Jerry, and why does it know what to say? Now, in this next clip, a woman who works in an emergency room starts noticing something she can't explain during one of her overnight shifts. A vital signs monitor in an empty room keeps powering on by itself and displaying readings that, according to every rule of how that equipment works, simply shouldn't be possible. She'd already reset the monitor, turned it off, confirmed no patients were assigned to it. Watch.
So there's nobody in this room. The leads are against the wall. And that's what it's reading.
The monitor is showing a heart rate, 56 beats per minute at first, then slowly climbing, then dropping down into the 40s before the leads off alarm triggers. She pans the camera down to show you the leads hanging loose against the wall, not attached to anything. "There's nobody in this room," she says. "The leads are against the wall, and that's what it's reading." Some believe hospitals hold residual energy from patients who pass there, something that imprints on the equipment itself. Others aren't so sure. What exactly was that monitor picking up? The following clips were all recorded by the same man, and taken together, they paint a picture of something building. Something that started with a strange sound in a dark attic and kept getting worse no matter what he did. In the first video, he's out in what appears to be a shed or garage during the day, working on tools, when he starts hearing something coming from a closet in the back, one that leads up into an attic through a fixed wooden ladder. He openly admits he's never been up there, not once since he bought the house. He's clearly unsettled even before he opens that door. Watch.
You can believe me or not, I don't care, but listen to this. I'm out in the shed, working on tools. Listen, if I hear it again, dude, I swear to God, there's something up in this attic, man. I'm not getting up in here and shit. Do you hear that? Dude, oh my God, bro. Oh my God, man. There's something in this neighborhood, dude. Oh my God. Dude, I don't know what to do in a situation like this. Do you hear this shit, man? This thing was built before I bought this house, man. I've never gone up here one time. What was that, man? There's stuff up here. Left from the previous owner. Oh. my god, dude. Oh my.
Twice, from somewhere above, a high-pitched wailing sound rises out of the darkness, something between a cat meowing and a baby crying. He shuts the door, opens it again, hears it a second time, and then, against every instinct, he climbs up anyway. The moment the camera breaches the attic floor, the sound hits again, close, sharp, and this time almost forming a word. He drops the camera and the video cuts. For a lot of viewers, that specific quality of the sound is what stuck with them. It's too structured to be wind, too close to be a stray animal on the roof. Some people pointed to the possibility of a trapped animal. Cats in particular are known to find their way into attic spaces and produce sounds that can genuinely unnerve people in an enclosed space. But others weren't so quick to explain it away, especially given what came next. In the second clip, he's back. Same shed, same attic, same setup. And this time, he tells the camera he's already been out there and heard more noises since. He makes his way to that same dark opening and calls out into the black. Listen closely.
So if you watch my first video, if you believe it or you don't, that's fine. But I have been hearing some noises up in the attic in my shed. People told me to be quiet. You try to do this. But I've been out here, already heard some noises, so... People said it could be raccoons and shit. So if there's raccoons or pigeons, I don't. Hey, is anybody up here? Is anybody up here? Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
When he asks, "Is anybody up here?" something answers. A loud bang hits back from the darkness almost immediately. Sharp, deliberate, like a response. He asks again. And then, from deep inside that unlit space, something releases a guttural, multi-toned roar that doesn't match any common animal sound. He runs. That sound is the detail that split viewers most. Skeptics argued it could be a large raccoon or even a fisher cat, an animal notorious for producing shockingly aggressive and non-human vocalizations. But the way the bang responded directly to his question, the apparent call and response quality of it, is the part that's harder to rationalize away, because random animal noise doesn't typically time itself to what a person just said. By the third visit, he's back with his phone's flashlight on this time, and you can tell he's been losing sleep over this. His knees are shaking before he even gets to the ladder. He pushes the camera up into the attic and calls out a third time. Watch closely.
All right, you guys don't believe me, and that's fine. I've been out here again trying to organize these tools. I'm going to show you what I've heard up there, and I've seen something moving. So you can believe me or you don't have to. I don't care, but watch this shit. My knees, I'm literally shaking. If you guys... All right. How do I turn the light on this? All right, I got the light on. Oh my God. Listen to this. Listen to this. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Is anybody up here? Is anybody up here? Oh my God. Is anybody up here? Hey, is it?
Oh my
On the attic floor, a small metal object slides several inches with no visible cause. Then, deeper in the space, a dark container near the back moves, and a solid, humanoid figure rises from behind it, silhouetted against a faint light at the far end. It holds there for a moment, then lunges. He screams and the camera goes down. That figure is what the entire comment section fixated on. Some people immediately called it a person, someone squatting in the attic, possibly a trespasser who had been living up there undetected, which honestly might be the most disturbing explanation of all. Others pointed to the shape and the way it rose, too abrupt, too still before it moved, and went somewhere else entirely. In paranormal communities, the idea of an entity that occupies enclosed, liminal spaces like attics and crawl spaces has a long history. Some traditions describe these as threshold guardians, presences that are drawn to the boundary between lived space and forgotten space. Whether or not you buy that framing, the figure in that attic is not easy to dismiss. That changed everything. Then came his Ring camera. He shares a clip from his property at dusk, showing a dark, indistinct shape near the tree line at the edge of the yard, and the audio that came with it is unlike anything in the earlier clips.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Look at this video. But I have no words for whatever that noise was. And where the fuck is my Ring camera? I just got that today. Dude. Thoughts? Comments? Man, I'm almost speechless.
A series of guttural, wet-sounding grunts and wheezing roars erupts from the direction of the woods. His dog, heard barking in the background the entire time, is frantic. And then the Ring camera itself is physically grabbed or knocked from its position, the view lurching violently before the footage cuts. He comes back on camera afterward looking genuinely shaken, asking where his camera even went. The sounds from the tree line don't match the attic vocalizations exactly. They're heavier, more animal. But the pattern of something responding to his presence, then making physical contact, lines up in a way that's uncomfortable to ignore. Some viewers familiar with Dogman or Bigfoot encounter reports pointed to the vocalizations as consistent with those cases. Others weren't ready to go that far and suggested a large territorial animal, possibly a bear. But a bear doesn't knock a security camera off its mount with apparent intent. And whatever had been in that attic didn't behave like a bear either. The most recent clip in the series brings a different kind of dread. It's 5 in the morning, pitch dark, and he's in a room near a window he left open in the hallway. Listen closely.
Listen to me right now. It is 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, and I hear something coming out of my window. Shit. Oh my god, I had the light on. There is something walking around outside of my window. Seriously, did you hear that? Rewind it if you didn't. What was that? I was in my room down the hallway and I left the den window open and I was hearing like walking and twigs. It did not sound like normal. And I was like, shit, I left the window open. And that's what I heard. Hold on, there's more. I could hear it down the hallway. You hear that? Where is it coming from? I can't see it. Goddamn. Could I be blowing this out of proportion? I mean, possibly, but like I genuinely heard something. Listen to it, rewind it, and turn it up and tell me if you didn't hear something too. You know, and mind you, that was at 5 o'clock in the morning.
2 soft, deliberate taps land on the glass or wall from outside. Then, immediately after, a raspy, disembodied voice whispers what sounds unmistakably like, "Come here." He cuts to a daytime debrief in his car to explain what he was hearing: walking, twigs, movement near the window, and then the nighttime footage resumes and a prolonged scratching sound begins along the exterior wall, like something with claws is dragging itself along the outside of the house. He whispers that he can hear it moving down the hallway. He can't see anything through the screen. That whispered voice is the detail that most people couldn't shake because the sounds in the attic were strange, but they were sounds. A voice is something else. It implies awareness, something that knew he was on the other side of that window and wanted him to open it. Whether that's a person, an animal that has learned patterns, or something that has been circling this property for longer than any of these videos have been rolling. I'll leave that to you to decide. But what I can tell you is that across all 5 of these clips, the activity hasn't stayed in one place and it doesn't seem to be stopping. The following video was captured inside a hospital by Dave, a man who claims he's been gifted with sight since he was young. According to him, he doesn't just sense things, he sees and hears them. And he says spirits tend to follow him, especially in places where emotions are intense, like hospitals, cemeteries, abandoned buildings. Places where life and death have crossed paths. While Dav was receiving treatment, he suddenly felt like he wasn't alone in the room. Watch.
There's like something in this room. That is like moving like the chairs. Move this shit around here. Oh, my bad. That should hurt. But anyways. If there's a spirit in here, just let me know, you know. And sometimes things, this is Kaiser. Oh, man. I felt like a really, really heavy presence in this room right when I walked in, but I just thought I see something sitting right there. I'm sorry. My phone. That's not good. There's a lot of things happening here. Again, that door slowly open and close right now. If there's anything in here, just give me a sign. I'm here in peace. Okay, you can say anything. Just don't mess with my heart monitor or anything. That started to move. But it could be people up there. I just came up here. Something here, TV or something. Move anything you want. Let the people know that you're speak into this thing. Show me your hair, presents. You could, I got a gift, and I'm not afraid. So if you decide to move anything, open that door again, I won't be frightened. What the hell? Oh. Whoa, shh. Excuse me, nurse. Oh, that's some activity. Excuse me. This thing fell. Right here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just fell.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was just sleeping and.
Well, that scared you, huh?
Yeah, it scared the shit.
I was worried. I thought you fell.
Oh no.
It wasn't you. All right.
Okay, people, that was a scary situation. know I didn't jerk, but yeah, it's ghost activity. Oh my god. Oh crap. Well, I got the gift, but I'm not gonna abuse it. I just asked for, you know, little signs here and there. They showed them to me. Nothing to be alarmed about, people. Didn't feel it was evil at all. But whoa! I know you guys heard that over there. Woo! Anyways, God bless you guys. I'm not gonna entertain them anymore because I don't need my heart to go racing. God bless you guys. But anyways, I was gonna cut this video short, but right when I was gonna cut it short, something else happened. But I'm waiting for it to happen again. So this right here, mind you, this is the only sliding door that's open. But this right here pulled all the way back this way. So what happened last time was I was asking it for a sign, and it pushed over this metal thing right here. I had to tell the nurse I was sleeping because I didn't want her to think I did the shit, or I just told her I don't know. I didn't know what to, make up, but this shit is, it's crazy, And all I asked is for a sign, and they give them to me. But the thing is, I'm used to it when there are signs, But in hospitals, there's a lot of activity, and I already know I'm gonna find something, that would give me a sign or whatever. Oh, just like that. That was up there under my sweater or some shit. Okay. I know you're not welcome here, so you can go back to wherever you come from. Because I'm not taking that. And this arm right here you can't do nothing with it. It hurts. So I gotta lay on my side right here. Okay, people. God bless you. Blessings. And, man, pray for me.
If you listen closely, after he says, "I'm here for peace," a faint whisper can be heard saying, "Help," and then what sounds like "knife." That detail is what unsettled viewers the most. Some speculate it could be the spirit of someone who passed away in that very room, possibly someone connected to surgery or a traumatic procedure. Hospitals are places of healing, but they're also places of loss, fear, and unfinished stories. In paranormal theory, strong emotional events can leave behind residual energy, like a recording that replays under the right conditions. Others believe this could be an intelligent haunting, meaning whatever is there is aware and responding directly to Dave, especially since the whisper appears right after he speaks. During his stay, Dave also mentioned feeling a heavy presence near the chair in the room. He said the energy felt concentrated there, like someone was sitting and watching him, but when he looked, no one was there. Of course, skeptics argue hospitals are full of ambient noise, machines humming, distant voices, equipment moving, and audio pareidolia can make random sounds seem like words. According to them, when you expect to hear something, your brain can fill in the blanks. So was it simply hospital acoustics playing tricks on the ears? Or did someone or something in that room hear him when he said he came in peace and answered back? You decide. In this next video, Andrea is walking her dog late at night when something in the distance makes her stop. At first, she thinks it's just her eyes adjusting to the dark, but then she notices shapes that don't look quite right. So she pulls out her phone and starts recording. Have a look. In the distance, 3 shadow figures appear to be standing completely still. Some believe they could simply be people standing under poor lighting, their features swallowed by the darkness. At night, depth perception becomes unreliable. Streetlights can distort proportions, and shadows can merge together, making ordinary figures look unnaturally tall or solid black. But others argue something feels off. In paranormal discussions, shadow figures are often described exactly this way: human-shaped, lacking detail, and usually seen in peripheral vision. They're said to be watchers, observers, and in some reports, they appear in groups of 2 or 3. The fact that there are 3 of them standing together raises even more concern for believers. Some theories suggest that multiple figures appearing at once could indicate something more intelligent or coordinated, not residual energy, but active presence. As for danger, most accounts claim shadow entities don't always attack, but they can induce fear, paralysis, or a feeling of being targeted. And fear is something certain entities feed off. Whatever they were, one thing is clear: they weren't moving, and they were aware enough to stand there while being filmed. Until clear footage surfaces, what Andre saw that night remains a mystery.